Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Frankie B, and this is a continuation video. Actually, well, sorta. I mean, let me put it in context. All right, what happened yesterday, which was a Sunday, was it was me, Pete, and another fellow artist on the art flow journey, named Kier. Pete threw a art drawer, and on his channel and stuff, and so I joined them, and we pretty much would chat it up, and then also doing some artwork. And what you're seeing here is part of some pieces of puzzle cards that I was working on. This is the first one, and then pretty much it was like, in my mind, I was trying to do this sort of crossover thing, so I was using, cards using Cowboys official card stock next to the official Alterna Comics card stock, and I didn't date it yet, so I gotta date it, so I gotta remember that too. But anyway, I did that, and then I did this one with Bwin, the character Bwin from Cards Using Cowboys, and he's now engaging Log and Bird. And I try to stay with stuff that I've kind of worked on a little bit, that I've drawn. So this one right here is Bwin, who is the protagonist of Cards Using Cowboys, our hunter bot, the bot with no name. Bwin is just a short acronym of it. And then you have King Cryptid, And so I sort of carried it on, and then now I'm going to try to complete the last two cards, which feature, the character Bwin, and he's double blasting with his wrist guns. The creature Leviathan from Blood Realms, who I actually did a pinup. I can't think of the other character that was in that universe. Olgoth, I think it was a dragon, but I did a pinup in which Olgoth, this character, was battling Leviathan. I know if I'm wrong, then I know that Rob's gonna definitely let me know about it in the names. But anyway, I did a pinup for that, so I did this character. He's an evil bad character, so I didn't feel bad blasting him. So, but I love Blood Realms. And then the next final card would be pretty much the Mighty Mascots, which I definitely I did the character designs for the Mighty Mascots, and then the Mighty Mascots is currently being done by Ian, a fantastic artist. But what I wanted to show was SBW, which is funny. I haven't drawn SBW in like ages. So you got SBW and then pretty much, and he's giving a high five with Bwin, because technically they're both robots. So Bwin, I think Bwin has my feeling on him, and I don't know how Matthew's going to take him, but I think that he has a much more warmer connection with beings who are more, on the more robotic, mechanized side, as compared to organic creatures, which are like kajus and stuff like that. All just organic creatures. Maybe that's just my thought, but things change. The story will be coming out next year. The comic book series through Second Sight Publishing. And we're looking at possibly summer 2022. So, I'll definitely be letting everyone know about that. I want to thank everyone for coming to my site, to this channel. This is to my channel. Again, this is one of the things I'm truly humbled and honored by, because again, there's tons of stuff on YouTube, and you guys could be watching a bunch of that stuff. You don't have to be coming to my little meager channel, which is really just just me ranting a little bit and just doing artwork. So I am truly humbled and honored by that. I want to also, sort of say to people who maybe it's just the first time, if you're listening to me or heard me talk, I'm one of those kind of people where, I sort of talk off the cuff. I'm from the Northeast. I grew up in Boston. Was it Bill Burr? Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians, and I imagine that if I was sitting down with you, I'd probably have that kind of personality where I just, talk off the cuff. Sometimes I know that the way I speak can be very forward, and sometimes it could. Who knows? A long time ago, I remember one of my mentors once told me, he said, Frank, he said, the reality is that
individuals may always find something about you that they may not like. That's just a given. That's just human nature. And he said, all you can do is just keep your stuff real. You can just be real to yourself. You know who you are. And, and when you say stuff, you want to be as real as possible. And I've never stopped being real. So, when I say stuff, I say it in a genuine fashion because, that's how I was told. And it helped me, and so, and I genuinely, I want to see people do really good. I don't think that it helps to sort of, soften context about certain things to people, because I don't know if that really helps them, I mean, it may, to some degree make someone feel somewhat good, but is it going to really help them get to where they're searching to get to? Because the world is definitely a place that's, as much as it has some soft parts, there's definitely some hardened parts about it and stuff. And it's good to kind of build up some resilience toward that. So that's just in context, I really had an amazing time chatting it up with those with Pete and Kier. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. It was really great. The time was perfect and it just worked out. So, and there was a lot of conversation going on, which was fantastic. And we really hope that the people who came by to hang out and watch us talk and listen to us just rambling on, that you got something out of it, one of the things that I know that anytime I speak to other artists, fellow artisans and stuff like that, I get inspired. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Inspired. I get inspired by just their words and with their artwork and stuff like that. I mean, I always walk away from stuff and I go, man, this something sparked me. So with that said, I had a short conversation where we were talking about lecture tone, and it's been on my mind because when we're talking with Pete and stuff, I think that usually when in the context of a conversation, when people will ask me how long something will take, I think that I'll just blurt it out. I'll just be like, well, it took such and such. I'll think of the broader amount of time, and instead of looking at it and explaining in context what that time meant, as factoring in other elements like if I had other gigs going on and stuff like that. So for instance, I was telling Pete and them about lecture tone and stuff and how long it takes. It's a beautiful technique and stuff like that. But the reason why you don't see a lot of people doing laying down lecture tone or screen tone and stuff like that is just, it's time consuming. And so, as I was talking to Pete and stuff, he had asked me about a piece that I'd come back to work on. And in context, I broke it down to like maybe 2 weeks to work on the piece, which was roughly right because but in context, I should explain that that 2 weeks comprised other things too, as other projects. So it was me working on it, but then also something else coming in the way. And then I had to sort of put it aside and whatever. So I don't know I don't know how you could really gauge, if I was doing lecture tone for a project, how long it would take, especially in the sense of sequential artwork, like if I was doing comic book pages and stuff like that. I can only guesstimate that it's going to take a while. I feel like it would double up. Like if it takes me roughly, I would say when I do a page of art, and usually, and let me put it in context, I draw my artwork, my original comic book page is much smaller than what the standard. I think a lot of guys, when I say guys, I say artists, male and female. I just use the term guys. But a lot of artisans, many work at a more full size, maybe 10 by 15 or 11 by 17. I work much smaller. I work actually more closer to the actual standard size of how the comic book is going to be. So that's roughly, let me set that in a scale over here. Let me take a quick look. I'll say if I was going to go from 6.4, my safe area, let's just say 6.625, excuse me, by 10.18, 10.25. So 10 and a quarter, 6.65, a little bit over 6.5, and 10 and a quarter. Why don't we say that? So that's pretty much more smaller than what a lot of people are genuinely doing. So with that said, I also, my thumbnails tend to be tight, like much more tighter. So when I do my thumbnails, they're fully rendered. I send them off and they get looked over by the client or whomever that I'm working on. Say for instance, like what I'm doing with Codgers and Cowboys, send them over to Matthew to look at. Matthew looks at them, and because they're so detailed, he gets a pretty, tight sense, an idea of how the pages, the panels are laid out and everything. And so what he'll do is, he'll give me a note and say, Frank, all right, this and that, or what can you put this in? And if I need to make an edit, I can make some quick edits inside Photoshop, or if I have to blow some images up or change panels around, everything can be done very quickly in Photoshop. Whereas back in the olden days, I would have probably had to do paste stuff. So I would have had to get a copy machine, copy stuff, paste up, relay down, and then scan it. Yeah, it would have took time. It would have took a lot more time. But because of Photoshop, I'm able to just speed the process up much more rapidly. So anyway, then once that happens, if everyone feels good, then I can what's the next process? Oh yeah, I scan in. Well, I already have them already scanned in. So my thumbnails already scanned in. What I do is I then blow them up to to the size that's workable. So my thumbnails are much more smaller. Probably like this size, a little bit. Probably a little bit bigger, maybe roughly around the size 2x5, 2.5. Excuse me, 2.5 by 3.5. And then I blow them up to the size that I want to work, and then I transfer them over. I do copies of them, and then I get the tracing paper. So these are processes that I sort of do like a almost assembly line kind of thing, where I'll spend a day, and then a day of just like doing a transfer. So doing a copy, and then going to my light table, and then doing a transfer onto the comic book drawing board that I'm going to illustrate on for the final art. So using my light table, I'm able to do some, take that and do the drawing right onto the actual artwork from the copies that I make. So pretty much that's something that works for me. Now, it may not work for everybody else, but it tends to work for me. So it works on my time schedule. So once that's all transferred and I have the artwork that I want onto the comic book board, now for page, I usually, since the page is smaller, I have 2 pages to 1 comic book pre-done comic book artboard. So that's two comic book pages. So I could, I've done, depending on what the scene is, for feeling really good, I would say like maybe 1.5 pages, maybe even 2, depending on the scene though. That's always a tricky one. Because again, when you're talking scenes and you have multiple characters, it really does depend on it. But I would say that roughly, I could probably do a page a day, or maybe even 2 pages a day. But again, that's really depending on the scene. So it's always tricky when people ask about, well, how long it take to do a comic book and stuff like that. I will say that because we're working on this, I usually give, I'm gonna say, if I'm working on a 22-page comic book and I'm also coloring Codgers and Cowboys, then I give myself a roughly 3-month window to do stuff. 3-month window, but that includes the whole production. So the whole production would be from, including with the, sending the work out to a letterer and stuff like that. That would be in a total package of that 3 months. So ideally, it should, I'm personally looking at, as an artist, looking at 2 months of window, a 2-month window to get the job done. Affording me any kind of mishap or anything, if something, I get sick or anything like that, or whatever the case, just a little bit of breathing room or something, just to get myself recalibrated. It's just so that it's just not a massive grind. So you're sitting there and you're just under the pressure of just cranking out. So yeah. So doing it digitally now, most of Codgers and Cowboys is I'm using digital files actually for my zipper tone, and they look good. The cool thing about them, they're very consistent, so it allows everything, so nothing really changes and that's a key thing. You want stuff to be kind of consistent as each book comes out. But they look pretty good. Unfortunately, they're not on the original artwork. But regardless of what, I still got the original line art and stuff like that, and so I don't think as a fellow collector that the collector's missing anything. And the digital coloring is on point. It looks fantastic. All right. But doing if I was to move over and try to do the actual Letrotone, then I don't know. I think I realistically, that 3-month window, in my opinion, would probably elevate more to a 6-month window, or close to 5 months. Just to really get that level, because you're talking multiple scenes sometimes that you would have to lay down, and to lay down the Letrotone on, and it would be insane. You're talking multiple panels. It's definitely a process that takes a long time. So you have to weigh those odds of something where you go, well, it looks amazing, and boy, it look great for a collector who wants to get that original artwork. When you see Letrotone on it, or Screen Tone, or Zipper Tone. I know it has so many names. When I first started using it back when I was in art school, and that was back in 1990, from the period of 1991 to 1993, I called it, but we called it too. I mean, it was Zipper Tone. That was the term that I learned. And then over years, it was like Letrotone, Screen Tone, So you got to imagine, it took so long. That's why when Screen Tone was used, Screen Tone, you see it in, I used to see a lot of Screen Tone in newspaper ads and stuff. They used a lot of that stuff in there. But they would be doing like 1 or 2 static images, so it wasn't like, for not like massive big pieces, so they could probably bust it out like much more like quicker. It'd be like 1 static image of a person, like an individual, say like a man in a suit. Then boom, there you go. You got a guy in a suit. You throw some Screen Tone on it, and bingo bango, you're all set. You're all set to go. You can put it to print. But when you're talking about a comic book with multiple scenes and stuff like that, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And since I am a commercial illustrator, there could be jobs that come in. I know that clients, the golden rule is never to sort of talk to clients about the fact that you're working with other clients, but clients should have understanding that most likely you are working with other clients and stuff. And so the thing is that you want to be able to have a reasonable amount of time to do a tremendous job, a good job with their assignment, but also, you want all your clients to be happy. I want every client that I'm working for to be very happy. I don't want them to be angry at me, So yeah, so that's that. So that was pretty much the context of it. And if anyone is watching that who actually watched the Drawstream yesterday, hopefully they'll look at that and go, okay, maybe see it, But yeah, yeah, I'm definitely somebody who talks from the cuff. I do, and I'm very honest when it comes to, wanting to see talent, just seeing people push themselves. I don't think it should be something where, I've always treated being in the art industry like almost like the Olympics. It's something that we're working hard, we're putting in hours and stuff like that to get here, and the thing is that there has to be a level of respect for that, and for the people that have come before us to pave the way. All right. So with that, the idea is that, let's see where we're at. We're at 19 minutes. I'm still yapping on. The idea is that these pieces are going to end up going up on I think it's going to be December 4th auction. But while we were having that conversation about Screen Tone, now I'm getting back to the main, the crux of it. When we was having a conversation about Screen Tone, it really did pump me a little bit when Pete was, he was mentioning it. And I said, you know what? I don't know if I've ever put Letrotone on sketch cards. I tried to do it. So you know what? I'm gonna try to do it, because especially in this situation right here, because I have so much Presto white, and this is Presto white right here, just in case anyone used the I got it upside down, excuse me. This is Presto white, and this jumbo is correction white. And so what I did was I had to, if you can see it a little bit on here, I had to use it on here because piece cards have a yellow line around it and stuff like that for the graphics. And then the cards that we have full open space with the logo of Cowboys and Cowboys. So the thing is that, you know, to kind of get that somewhat of a nice blend of it, you know, I had to put some white in there and stuff like that. So it's a lot of white. This destroys any chances of these being colored in marker, like full color, just because it would they would just look so off white. You know, it'd be it's not off white, excuse me. The coloring would be it'd be decoloration in it. It just wouldn't look right. There's no way that you could save that. So the second thought I had in my head was, I said, maybe I'll try to do some electrotone on it, you know, and I'm gonna do a video. So I can showcase it to it, so people can see, you know, a little bit of why it is a tedious process. And I'll have I'll see what kind of, I gotta break out some new X-Acto blades. I'll be working with my X-Acto knife, and I'll explain that whole process as well. So yeah, when people's talking, that's one of those things like where I get excited because of an artist talking about something, and then it sparks these new ideas in my head, and I go, okay, you know, all right, I'm stepping up. Let me just see if this might work now, you know, and then maybe it'll give me a rough estimate of how long it takes me to apply it to artwork, and how will it look. I'm curious to see how it's gonna look. You know, it may look pretty horrible, and I'll be like, oh well, you know. At least you got to try. You got to try to see, you know. All right. So this one's almost pretty much done. It's probably, I'll probably sign it in white. You know, this is going to be all dark. That's the good thing about the Blood Realm world that Rob has created. It just leads to these nice dark, a lot of dark stuff going on in there, and I love it. It's perfect. All right, I've been yapping an awful lot on this one. So like my other videos, this is going to be a what do I call it, mashup video, and so I'm going to be transitioning over to the Hyperlapse, so speed the process up for these cards, get them done, put them up, and then you can check them out. And then the next video will be the one where I'm going to try to apply electrotone, zipper tone, screen tone to these actual cards to see what happens, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so again, thank you so much for dropping on by, hanging out with me, and just listening to me ramble on. I really do appreciate it, and I really do appreciate your support. Feel free to comment. You know, I always love to hear from you. And if you are an artist, a writer, anyone who's creative, please continue. Don't give up. You know, follow your dreams. You know, hopefully some of the stuff that I said or other people are saying is motivating you, getting you inspired to get out there and make things happen. You know, I think that's the greatest. If anything that comes out of this, that to me is the greatest thing ever. So with that said, keep that art flowing.